Guys, how's it going? Coach Brown checking in for day number. There we go. I don't know why this thing be acting up. But all right, Coach Brown checking in for day number 5 of the 30-day live stream. Super excited to be back here with you guys today. I'm charged up because the message that I got for you today, I think is a very, very important message. I know a lot of people are on the path of personal growth, becoming new people and really expanding in their life. But there's a side of growth that is seldomly talked about, and it's an important part of growth that if we don't take into consideration, we can set ourselves up for failure. And obviously, I do not want to see you guys fail, even though we're going to fail our way to success. Avoiding failure when possible is a beautiful thing, right? Especially if it's not necessary. So today, actually, before I go ahead and dive into this message, I'm just going to say, if you guys are watching this, go ahead and get the video shared up. Somebody you know needs this message. I think you need this message, but I think somebody you know also needs this message, right? So let's talk about growth. Now, I was doing my daily, personal development, listening to some videos. I usually take some time out in the day to dedicate to personal growth. And one of the things that this person was talking about that I was watching super inspired me, and I got to bring the message to you guys. And it's around the idea of growth, right? One of the things that he was talking about, and it's something I already knew, but here, sometimes you got to hear something again for to be inspired by it once again, right? For it to really land for you. So he was talking about the truth about growth, and he asked the question, what direction does a tree grow? And most people, without thinking, will say a tree grows up, right? A tree grows up towards the sky. But in reality, a tree grows up and a tree grows down, right? So there's two sides to how a tree grows. Now, when a tree grows up, tree will grow up, tree's gonna bear fruit. Everyone says, look at this beautiful tree, look at this beautiful fruit. Everyone's excited. But the part of growth that we don't see is the growth that's taking place beneath the ground, the growth that's taking place in the dirt, in the darkness, right? And that's the most important growth, because when that tree is growing downward into the ground, it's becoming rooted. It's becoming rooted in the darkness. Now, no matter how tall a tree grows, no matter what beautiful fruit a tree may bear, if that tree is not rooted properly, guess what? That tree can fall over at any time. Guess what? That fruit can stop growing at any time. So what's more important than what we see above the ground is what's going on below the ground. And what he was pointing out is what's more important than what people see once you reach success, where it's identifiable by just looking at you, is all of the things that people did not see, all of the things that people do not see, right? All of the things that's going on in the darkness that are rooting you, or that should be rooting you, right? Sometimes we miss the very things that are sent to root us and give us a strong foundation, because we don't take time to appreciate the darkness we might find ourselves in. We don't take time to appreciate the isolation that we might find ourselves in. But guess what? You being isolated, you being in that dark place, is allowing you, or should be allowing you, to become rooted. You have to be rooted. You have to be rooted into the foundation, because the growth that's taking place below the surface, the growth that's taking place that no one is witnessing, is the most important growth. Because guess what? The tree has grown substantially below the surface, substantially where no one has seen it, well before it breaks through the ground and starts to climb. So a lot of times we see people as a finished product. We see the finished version of people, and we applaud that, but we never take time to consider what happened below the surface before we had a chance to even witness this person growing, right? Before we had a chance to even witness this person's success. What was happening under the ground? What was happening in the darkness? What was happening when no one could see it? So when you find yourself in dark places, when you find yourself in isolation, you have to ask yourself, or you have to be able to identify what is here for me. What type of growth is in this darkness for me, right? What type of what opportunity is in this for me to be rooted or be grounded in such of a way that I'm currently not, so that when I do start to climb, when I do start to grow, I'm rooted enough that things can't knock me over. Once I start going for the sky, once I start bearing fruit, because guess what? Once you start bearing fruit, the people's gonna show up, right? All the people that are not there to support you now, when you start bearing fruit, they're gonna show up. And if you're not rooted, if you're not grounded enough, guess what? They can pluck that fruit, and you can find yourself shriveled up and just diminished because you weren't rooted, because you weren't grounded. So again, how does a tree grow? A tree grows up and a tree grows down. But how that tree grows down into the darkness, into the isolation, into the areas that no one sees is the most important growth that tree experiences. And the same is true for you. The most important growth that you will ever experience in life is not the one that's going to be on display for people to witness. It's how you're growing in isolation. It's how you're growing in those hard times where nobody's around. It's how you're growing in those moments where you don't even know, you can't even see in front of you of how this is going to work out, right? Which way do I go? Because you're in total darkness. But in those moments, in those situations, is the greatest opportunity for growth, because it allows you to become a new, stronger, better, wiser version of yourself. And every time you do that, you root yourself deeper and deeper and deeper, so that when you do sprout and you do start to shoot up, man, you ground it in such a way where things can't just easily come and knock you over. So I was inspired to share that message tonight, because I think that, I guess in a vain sense, we look at everything that people acquire, and we see a lot of times the finished product, but we don't see what's going on under that surface, right? We don't see what it took, or what they had to go through in dark times to really come out and grow to these giants. I want to share one last story with you guys before I go, because I got a podcast coming up, right, in like a little bit of time. But a story I want to share, right, and this is from Les Brown, and this story always stuck with me, like from the time I heard it, right? But he was talking about, I think he said a Chinese bamboo tree. It's been a while since I heard it, so I'm paraphrasing. If I get a couple details wrong, don't kill me on it. But you guys will still get the principle, right? He's talking about the Chinese bamboo tree. He said, oh, like when you plant that tree, you got to water that thing. Again, my numbers may be off, but it's in the ballpark. You got to water that tree for like a year, or it might even been 5 years, but I think it was like a year before it even breaks the surface. But when it does break the surface, that joint will grow like 20, 30, 40, 50 feet in no time. You know what I mean? Like as soon as it cracks the surface, it sprouts up quick. But before that, he said, if you could imagine a guy out there watering the ground for a year with nothing to show for it, right? And people coming up like, man, what's this guy still out there watering the ground? There ain't nothing happening. He's been out here for a year just watering, nothing's happening. But guess what? All the growth is taking place under the surface where no one can see. And when the time does come and it does crack the surface and it begins to sprout, the growth happens like that. And that's when we see people, we say, oh, yeah, that person's an overnight success. No, they're not. They've been putting in that work. You know what I mean? But they've just been growing under the ground, unseen, to doing that unseen work. And when their time came, they shot out. All right, guys, so that's just what I was inspired to share with you guys tonight, man, for day number 5 of the 30-day live stream. I was amped when I seen that, because it reminded me that we're not only growing up, man, we're growing down, and we're getting deep. We're rooting ourselves, so that when we do reach the heights of success, we can't be knocked over, because we're so grounded and we're so rooted. You know what I mean? And we got to appreciate the growth that takes place in the dark areas, because the growth that takes place in the dark areas is the growth that matters the most. And don't ever allow that that understanding to flee from you. All right, so that's it for tonight, guys. I just wanted to come through and drop that gem. If you guys got anything from tonight's message, please go ahead and hit the like button. hit the share button. It only takes a second, but it helps to crack the algorithm, get this message out to as many people as possible. Again, 2025 is all about healing, all about growth. And a lot of people are going to see reality shift this year. You know what I mean? A lot of realities are going to shift this year. And this is just helping people to get off on the right foot, man, with these inspired messages. And as we go along, the messages are going to get a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper, right? Until we reach that climax. And I'm excited to see what that message is going to be and what the culmination of all of this is going to come to. All right, well, that's it for tonight, guys. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hope everybody, actually, I know everybody had a powerful day and have a powerful tomorrow and every day that follows. Coach Brown, I'm out. Peace.